Tell me about yourself.
Churchill, high school senior at Richmond High School. Um, been a military kid since I was born, and now I'm living in Richmond with my whole family. Family's from here, so it's good.
What do you want to do with your life?
I want to go to Wayne State and major in kinesiology, and then become an orthopedic surgeon.
How would you describe your ideal job?
Being in an OR 3-4 times a day, helping people fix their injuries with bones and fractures and stuff like that.
Why did you choose this career path?
I've always had a thing with bones and stuff because I've always broke a couple bones when I was little, and so the fact of me helping people, like putting plates in so like their bones fuse back together, has always been pretty cool to me.
What was your experience like taking your resume to a place of business?
I was a little nervous because I've met the doctor before since my mom's known her, but just being in an interview with her, not really an interview, but like it was just cool just seeing like exactly what she does, learning more about what she does, and it was very interesting.
What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that when you go something for a medical field, you want to have multiple resumes, one of like your college and one of your previous work if you have it.
When did you decide on this career?
I decided, I want to say about right as football season started, because I started going to Wayne State more, and then I saw their medical program, and then I always wanted to help people, so it was like the perfect combination of like keeping in touch, like keeping with athletes and then helping people too.
What goals do you have for your future?
I want to maintain at least a 3.5 in high school or in college, and then I want to go to Wayne State, get my bachelor's and then master's, and just go from there.
How do you plan to achieve your goals?
Study hour a lot with football. Since I'm going there for football, we have a lot of study hours. We have to have an amount of time, so always going to be in the study hall, always going to be at my own dorm just studying up, because medical field's always going to be hard and changing.
How do you define success?
I define success as having the ability to work through adversity and still be able to do what you want to do in life. Like no matter what's coming in front of you, you find a way to make it work.
What do you think it takes to be successful in this career?
I think it takes the ability to not take every patient to heart and to actually know the patient before you start the operation, and also to have a steady hand so you don't mess them up even more.
What accomplishments have given the most satisfaction to you in your life?
I received a military children award when I was like 10 from my dad's base, and just shows that like even though my family and I went through the heartache of 9 deployments and everything like that, that we still found a way to make life work at home.
What motivates you?
For sure, my family. I mean, my motto is like family first, everything else second. So if it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't be the man or the person I am today.
What are your short-term goals?
I definitely want to go to Wayne and perform not just in the classroom but on the football field. So always maintaining good grades, always maintaining weight, and just doing what I love to do.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself in 10 years in a residency program somewhere where I can start to learn all the new tricks and stuff from other orthopedic surgeons, and hopefully be on my path to being my own self.
What is your greatest strength?
I want to say my greatest strength is I'm very hard-nosed, I guess you could say. I'm very, like, when push comes to shove, I don't like to crumble. I always like to stand out and be there for anybody. Like, I'm very helpful, very empathetic, sympathetic, so.
What is your greatest weakness?
I want to say that I try too much to be perfect. Like, I've always been like that kid, and you see in sports that gets upset if he doesn't hit a home run every time, or you see that kid in the classroom that gets an A but misses that one question. So I've always had that weakness of I'm always have to be perfect or it's not good enough.
If I were to ask one of your teachers to describe you, what would he or she say?
Oh, Lord. I feel like they'd say I'm very respectful. I'm hardworking when I put my nose down. But I'm also talkative. I also like to have a good time, get everybody else involved. But biggest thing I think they'd say is I'm very quiet and respectful to one another.
What changes would you make in your school?
Maybe just like classes overall, like have a different variety of classes, because like I came from Florida, and like Florida you had AP classes for everything up the wazoo, and so then now you came here and it was like a little bit of a change. So I love everything else about it. It's just maybe add a few more classes in.
What are some positives about your school?
definitely feels like everybody knows everybody, no matter who you are. Like any sport events, like football games, basketball games, there's always that huge student section, so that's always good to have everybody involved, and it's something that they can't be.
How has Richmond High School prepared you for your next step?
Definitely learned how to be hardworking, always keeping your head down and doing what you can do best. Like, that's one thing the teachers preach here is like, as long as you do your best, then you're doing your best. So like, don't get flustered if you didn't do so well on a test, but you'll be fine.
What were your favorite classes and why?
I want to say my favorite classes would either be English 10 honors with Murphy, yearbook with Murphy, or probably English 12 this year. I feel like with Murphy and Miss Smallwood, they all found a way to make what we're learning about very interesting. And I mean, with Murphy, I've known him from baseball and stuff, so I always was close to him. But he made that class. It can be the most boring book ever, but he made that book like awesome. And then the Smallwood does the same thing. She always finds new ways for us to get involved in classes, whether it's in the hallway or it's doing cards in the classroom. She always just finds ways to do it.
Who were your favorite teachers and why?
I'd say my favorite teachers would be Mr. Mr. Ogilvy, and Mr. Murphy. They were all guys who I could trust because, I don't know, they were just very open-minded, listened to whatever you had to say, and just made you laugh when you needed to and took you seriously when you needed to.
How does Richmond compare to other schools you've attended or visited?
Well, it was a big change for me coming here from Tampa, Florida, because obviously Tampa is huge. So my graduating class was like almost double the size of this whole school. So I came here and it was like weird because in my graduating class I only knew athletes. I didn't know anybody else. But when I moved here, it was like I know everybody in my grade. I can go up and talk to anybody who I want in the hallway. And so it was just awesome seeing how a small town like Richmond has always affected me in the long run. So like I've always loved how you can go to a football game and you see somebody and you're easily able to go up and say, "What's up, how you doing?" and stuff like that. So that's definitely a big thing for me.
Do you have any plans to further your education?
I do. I'm going to go attend Wayne State on a academic and athletic scholarship for football. So I plan on going there and majoring in kinesiology or a pre-med.
What qualities do you think a successful orthopedic surgeon should have?
Always wanting the best for the patient. Very hardworking, very steady, very empathetic. There's a lot, I mean, because every doctor needs to have like some type of like big heart to understand like how you got to connect with your patients and stuff. So
what advice would you offer to future seniors?
Don't take your freshman year. That's obviously like the most cliche one, but like don't take your freshman year lightly. It's obviously going to set you up for the long run. Also, you need to like take the SAT, the PSAT, the MSEP, and all those tests really hard because that's how you get your scholarship money. And even if you don't, it's always nice to have money in your back pocket if you ever wanted to go to college. So, and then don't mess around in like classes, obviously, because Mr. Reinhardt doesn't like that.
How do you plan to give back to the community?
Since my grandpa and like my mom's whole side of the family is basically from Richmond, I plan on like always coming back when I can from college to help with football, help with basketball, help with baseball, do the good old days stuff if I ever need to, and then just always be helping because I know that's what my family's taught me.
If you could change anything about your time at RHS, what would it be?
I wish I would have gotten here sooner. I just love Richmond. Like I love how everyone knows everybody and how everyone is like just like awesome. Like there's no really hatred towards one another. Like because in Florida it was like you had your athletes, so they had like groups and cliques obviously, but here everybody is on the same platform. No one wants to try to one-step another.
Cool.